Nick, what was your message to the team coming at 2 losses in 4 days? What's the messaging at this point?
Yeah, get up. We're going to take some time off, and just get up and keep fighting. Got a lot of things to fix. Been here before. Let's go.
Do you think the offense has gotten too predictable at times, especially in the run game?
Obviously, anytime, I think there were some good moments in the run game today. Got ourselves behind the sticks a little bit in the second half on some of the runs there. So we'll look at everything right there. We know we have the guys up front to be able to do that. Obviously, we got to do a good job putting them in positions to succeed, and then we got to go execute. So, we'll look at everything. Running a bunch of different types of schemes, but we'll look at everything to see what we're doing well and treat this like a bye week here this weekend.
One of the things you talk about all the time. Did you feel like they were more physical than you tonight?
Again, I don't think we played our brand of football or coached our brand of football today. Give them credit. They did a good job. And so again, have to look at the tape, with how things kind of played out, there today. But we definitely, that's not to our standard in all phases and in coaching. So, we'll look at it and we'll get better from it.
Second half, I think, third straight game, haven't scored a point. Obviously, you got to look at this one, but any themes coming out of there that you can put your finger on?
I think, we've had some 3-and-outs. Obviously, today had a couple 3-and-outs. Then we had the one drive that kind of got going, and then had to punt there around midfield, and then we had our 2 turnovers today. Obviously. That stalled out drives, which we've been pretty good at taking care of the football. Today, they made a couple plays. We got to be a little bit better with our fundamentals going to the ground there on the one fumble. But they made a couple plays and stalled out some of the drives with that.
Up to this point, your defense has been more than reliable in this game. What changed in your approach once you were chasing points?
Say that. Ask me that one more time. I'm sorry.
Your defense has been reliable up to this point. Just how did the game change once you guys found yourself in a different spot chasing points?
Defensively or offensively?
How you played. And did it change how you approached?
Well, yeah. When you're down, 3 scores there in the fourth quarter. Obviously, it changes your approach of you got to go fast. You got to try to get as many possessions as you possibly can. You got to hit explosives. Can't run quite as much right there in those scenarios. So yeah, obviously that changes your approach a little bit.
Have you seen things in the first month of the season that concerned you that could have led to this? Had you seen things in that first month, in those first 4 games, that could have led to what you've seen in these past 2 weeks?
Yeah, you look at every game, and then you look at ways how you can get better after every game. Win, lose, draw. You go back and you say, hey, how can we get better here? Not necessarily on that.
Nick, what are you seeing on the sideline in terms of the mood of the team? I know obviously execution, coaching on the field, but when you're on the sideline, what's the mood of the team?
Everyone just wants to get everything going and get it fixed. And saw a lot of great communication on the sideline today. A lot of guys encouraging each other, picking each other up. Trying to, again, but all 3 phases weren't good enough today. Coaching wasn't good enough today. But as far as our sideline and the way the guys interact with each other on the sideline, now I get to, see the initial part of it, and then I'm back on there for the offense or the defense or the special teams. But saw a lot of good communication on there today of what they were saying, and I don't see necessarily anything negative there if that's what you're referring to. But just guys wanting to work and to get it right.
With John Carter.
Obviously he didn't play today. He had the heel that was on the injury report the other day and wasn't able to go.
What makes you confident that things will get back in the right direction?
What makes me confident? Guys we got in the room, coaches we got in the room, players we have in the room. This is life in the NFL. You're going to have some ups, you're going to have some downs. We've been here before. Last year obviously we started out 4-2 as well. It was just a different way that we got there. So, yeah, there is no panic on us. It's hey, get back up, go back to work, you know, and get better from it. It's really that simple. But love the guys that we have, love the coaches that we have. Obviously, this group of guys and group of coaches have, you know, been to the top of the mountain, been to, you know, playoffs, and figure out ways. And I know we can figure out ways to get this thing rolling. We've been good at that in the past, and we got to be good at that again.
Are you seeing in-game offensive adjustments to the level you need to?
Yeah, I mean, again, anytime that, you know, obviously a couple weeks ago against the Rams, it was good adjustments to lead that second half comeback. You know, obviously we've stalled out here the last couple weeks here with our second half. You know, there, but you know, it's a combination of a lot of different things. It's hard to say, hey, this is all on this or this is all on that. Obviously, today it was all three phases there. That we and coaching, we, you know, wasn't good enough on any of those, and I always would take responsibility of that as the head coach when that looks like that. But yeah, again, they did some. I wouldn't say they did anything drastically different than what happened in the first half. You know, again, we had a couple 3-and-outs, and then we had a drive that stopped, and then we had a couple turnovers there. So combination of different things. We got to be better as with our coaching. We got to be better with our execution.
Are you getting so much about the things that don't require talent? But, you know, there was then a half sequence that you guys didn't execute today. There's still been penalties. Those types of things. Are you seeing that concerns you? I don't want to say cracks, but things that are uncharacteristic in that nature.
Yeah, you know, again, you want to. We'll get back there and we'll look at the tape and we'll correct those things. Yeah, you never want to come out of a game anything that, you know, requires talent beating you, and that's always going to be on me, always. And so there were some things that we had today that probably a little uncharacteristic, but you know, it's our job to get it fixed. I'm not saying that's concerning. I'm putting that on me. Because, you know, when we're in a team meeting, that's the things that we're going over. So you got to keep preaching it. You got to keep going after it, be relentless with it. That's what my plan is to do. And like I said, I know we got the guys that, you know, in that room that have a lot of faith in that. And I have a lot of faith in those guys, and I have a lot of faith in the coaches and the organization, and we'll get better from this.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.